Honorable Minister of MSME, Road Transport and Highways, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, Mr. Banerjee, Mr. Somani, my colleague Alka Arora, Joint Secretary in the Ministry, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever somebody introduces that, I'm going to give a keynote address, I feel very scared, because I don't have the real key, The real key is with you all. Now, when we have any such summit, global business summit, when we are having excellencies, we are having business delegates from abroad. Now, whenever they come to a country of the size and complexity of India and the diversity of India, sometimes, they feel lost. Where do we go? Who do we connect? And how do we, why should they come? Unless and until it actually benefits them. We have to look at that perspective, from that perspective. Now let me just quickly say a few words about when we say MSME, what we mean by it. The others say SME, we say MSME. Because we have a huge micro segment in the whole MSME sector, micro, small, medium enterprises. And they are, in fact, in many countries, they're actually the plinth where economies build and reinforce their industrial superstructure. And then they really contribute immensely, job creation, innovation, and very importantly, equitable development, inclusive growth. That's something which is extremely important for MSMEs. They're every part of the country now. And I would say in every village of this country. That's why they are important. Now, when we are talking about MSMEs, how do they compete in a globalized world? They have to compete amongst themselves, with the large corporates, and also with the SMEs and the large corporates of the world in the marketplace. How do they do that? How do they come out successful? How do they compete and succeed? I think the theme of this year's particular summit is extremely very interesting. I find that very interesting because it talks about competitiveness, manufacturing competitiveness. And how does that happen? It can happen only, I believe, there are two things, most importantly. One is innovation, and the second is collaboration. Because by collaborating with somebody, we are going to harness the potential or the comparative advantage competitiveness that we already have, and the comparative advantage that we already have. I don't know to name, but many countries have developed in the last, if you look at 30, 40 years, 50 years, they have actually added to their competitive advantage, their comparative advantage. And India is also doing that. If you look at the MSME ecosystem, now how do they, they are already doing innovations. How do we enable them to adapt to new technological innovations, the other innovations, marketing innovations? How do we do that? In India, after the goods and services tax, the GST came into being, overwhelming majority of the entities who have registered in the GST network are actually MSMEs. They're just far too many. But we have a long way to go. Many more have to come onto the GST network. If we look at the total GST registrations, very huge numbers are MSMEs. So they are gradually coming to the formal economic framework, the system. If they are coming into this formal system, we have to look at their, how do we enhance their competitiveness, manufacturing competitiveness, their ability to absorb technology, the emerging technologies, the futuristic technologies. Now, I would like to share something with you that from 1969 to 1999, for all those 30 years, we had built up around 18 tool rooms and technology centers in this country. Now in the next 4 years or so, 4.5 years, in these 5 years, this 18, we are going to enhance, we are going to go from this 18 to 153 technology centers. That includes the new 15 centers which are under different stages of completion. And the government has approved 120 more technology centers, 20 large and 100 small, to have better technological outreach to our MSMEs who are everywhere in this country. And if you are doing that, these technology centers are going to help, especially the MSMEs, how to adapt to new technologies, how to know about new things. I mean, we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about Internet of Things, machine learning, we talk about blockchain, we talk about augmented reality, virtual reality and all that. How does an MSME sitting somewhere, not in the metros, get this benefit? So these centers are actually going to help them, not just in learning, but in adapting to the new and the futuristic versions, the emerging versions of the technology that they need to adapt so that they become competitive in the marketplace. Now, there are many other things which are also being done so that at least the SMEs of our country can actually compete in the marketplace. Now, when we are having this, last time we had a global conclave like this, many of our friends, many of the SMEs from abroad, they actually asked us one simple question. I said, how do we know where are these people? Is there any platform, any database where we can go and find out, we can enter into joint venture? And that gave us an idea. We'll be coming up with a portal this year itself, which will be a digital platform where people can meet, collaborate, and they can contribute to each other's innovation, they can contribute to each other's growth. Now, you'd be surprised to know that we have a database where there are 75 lakh registrations, 7.5 million registrations of the SMEs in that database. I'm not talking about the GST, I'm talking about our ministry's database. Now, if the global SMEs come to know about these SMEs and their inherent strength, then they can actually bring in new technology, they can invest, they can be made a part of the global value chain. So we're going to bring these global SMEs and also our SMEs onto a digital platform where both can benefit, where both parties can benefit. And we are in that process, and I can assure you friends, hopefully next year when we all meet, by that time, we'll have a virtual meeting place where we can actually meet and we can help each other. Now when we talk about all this, I'm always reminded that we need to really look at three things. I believe 3 P's, not pen point or something, no, 3 P's. One is every SME, every large corporate, everybody would have to find, and they have to find value in this. And the first P goes for profit. Everybody has to benefit, everybody has to have profit, P for profit. The second, it has to be for people. Unless and until it is for people, people can afford that particular product, you are not going to sell your product, even if it's a damn good product. So it has to really look at the needs of the people. And the third P is for planet. It has to be sustainable. It has to be ecologically friendly, so that at least we enhance our productivity, our efficiency. I believe such global SME forum, this summit, and the futuristic, whatever we do, are going to help all of us. Thank you very much. Thank you.